devotional now to another angle. As I said, we are trying to cover all facets of Lata Mangeshkar. There's another category of songs that she sung, if you can call it a category, which is very, very popular, which is poetry, ghazals and mujras.
Specifically on this particular section, I have a very specific comment to make. When Bob Dylan got the Nobel Prize in 2016 for literature, a lot of people criticized that songwriting, can it be a literature? Can it be part of literature? And even in our industry, in the film industry, usually there are hardcore writers who feels that film is not the medium for them and it is not the real literature. But when Majrooh, when Sahir writes for cinema, they upgrade cinema. They upgrade the lyrics to the stature of literature. When Majrooh writes, "हम हैं मताए कूचा वो बाजार की तरह, उठती है हर निगाह खरीदार की तरह," so this is nothing but literature. This is not a film song. But this is how cinema extends the shelf life of literature. How it takes the hardcore literature to the popular masses. It made us to actually figure out what is meant by mataye pucha ho bazar ki tarah. It actually made us learn that particular phrase, learn that particular language. And when Lata sings dikhai diye you bekhud kiya, so it is written by Mir. And but nobody knows, but the way she takes Mir to the popular masses, so it extends the shelf life of the hardcore literature in that particular medium. So that is what, but it has to be a voice like Lata Mangeshkar, who can pronounce, who can actually provide that kind of emotions. Because if you see, there's a beautiful album called Lata Sings Galib. If you haven't heard, you should go back and check that. The way Lata has rendered each and every ghazal of Galib, it is kind of a challenge. Galib is quite a complex writer with so many layers and layers of creativity, and we are still exploring the meanings of what he has written. And the best part of Galib is, he had written it 200 years ago, but it is still relevant, it is still connecting. The same शेर, everything, हर एक बात पे कहते हो तुम कि तू क्या है, तुम ही कहो कि अंदाज़े गुफ्तगू क्या है. So when Lata sings this Galib, her interpretation is also kind of a challenge. And when you hear it, you would find it, there's a conscious effort to bring in that kind of complexity and layers in those compositions. Those are not like film compositions. So when initially I used to think this is just a gimmick, but after a few hundreds of listens, after maybe you can say I was immature at that time. So initially I thought ki Begum Akhtar used to sing Galib better, or K.L. Sehgal, or even Mehdi Hasan, or the other Talab Mahmood. But nowadays when I listen Lata singing Galib, so I find the same kind of treatment, same kind of challenges that Galib used to pose for his readers. So that's the level of creativity. So Lata took it as a challenge, and you will find so many nuances in that particular singing. It is such a nuanced singing, and the kind of expressions Lata brought to those Lata sings from Galib, I'm sure if you haven't heard that album, you would love that.
Thanks, Pawan. These are lovely insights. You know, recently when you hear Asha Bhosle talking about Lata Mangeshkar after her passing away, two things she mentions: Gale mein Saraswati, Dimag mein Chanakya. And she says that, and I also believe that, just now we talked about how, despite she not being on talking terms with Jaydev, she ensured that she sings those two bhajans for Hum Dono, Allah Tero Naam and Prabhu Tero Naam, because she knew that these are going to remain for posterity. She was shrewd in the right sense to understand that these kind of songs need to be sung by her. Same goes for her diction and pronunciation. We spoke about honey-dipped voice, we spoke about her technical virtuosity in classical music. Those things she was born with to some extent. She built on it assiduously. But her pronunciation and diction, she worked from base zero. Right? Dilip Kumar, the same Dilip Kumar whom Dr. Rao was talking about, had said to Naushad that ये लड़की अच्छा गा सकती है लेकिन उनका वो तो वही दाल भात की बू आएगी उनकी pronunciation में. Lata overheard that. She took lessons from a Maulavi. She perfected her pronunciation, and the result was Uthaye Ja Unke Sitam, the song that we heard first, right? And you know, this North Karnataka, Goa, and South Maharashtra area has been blessed with a lot of great singers, a lot of great female singers. Hirabai Bardekar, Saraswati Rane, Jyotsna Phole, Lakshmi Bai Yadav, and in male, Bhimsen Joshi, Kumar Gandhar, there's so many, Mallikarjun Mansur. Nobody has pronounced Hindi. They have sung bhajans also, right? Nobody has pronounced the way she has pronounced. She was shrewd enough in the right sense to understand that if she doesn't perfect her diction, there will be a limited clientele or a limited audience for her music. That's why her voice is the voice of the nation, and not, you do not associate a region with her voice. You associate the entire subcontinent with her voice. So, by the way, this all these specific devotional honey-dipped sections ke alawa jo baj raha hai, that is, you know, all-time greats or classics just like that. This is basically to satisfy ourselves कि इतने सारे गाने हमने छोड़ दिए, कम से कम उसको एक generic category में डाल दिया.
अच्छा, एक I think someone asked Mataye Kucha का meaning. So Mataye Kucha is nothing but the things that you get on the streets. Kucha is your bazaar. मतलब Kucha is gali, bazaar, and the items that you get on that bazaar, like a hut bazaar, that is mata. So if you have seen the film, then you will realize the context. It is such a beautifully written song, and for that particular script, for that particular context, if it was written beyond cinema, it might not have been written like this, because this is what cinema gives to literature. It gives them characters, it gives them stories to write. That is cinema's contribution to literature.
Alright, and we'll move on to the next piece of timeless classics, and the first song is going to be something which is a picnic favorite for everybody. Any guesses? Alright, and singers, yeah, everybody wants, if you want to test your voice, how well can I sing, especially the ladies of course, because it's a Lata Mangeshkar song. So you would see how well you can sing this song. If you can sing it spot on, then boss thodi baat ban rahi hai. But please feel free to sing, ladies, gentlemen, everybody, boys, girls, because this is one of those songs. She was so shocked that she froze everything. Alright, those are indeed some timeless beauties over a long period of time again, and you know, some. इसके बारे में कुछ any favorites? Achi, about these songs?
All of them.
All, actually, you're right. I mean,
all of yours, but
very,
any,
very difficult to. Yeah.
But I would like to highlight one particular point: how she served visions of heroines. We saw Meena Kumari, we saw Madhubala, and now we are seeing here Hema Malini and Vidya Goswami, Sulakshana Pandit. Later on, Kajol. So she actually served for 7 decades and 7 decades of heroines. That is not an easy act.
Yes, indeed. Our next section is very, very interesting because it has a Goa connect. Yeah. So we're going to play some songs which have a Goa reference, a Goa connect, and I'm sure you'll enjoy those. You know, thanks to all these wonderful songs, at least we can see now what Goa was like once upon a time. There's no way you can, you know, it resembles anything like this. We played a bunch of songs. Did you all recognize most of the locations? Yeah. Anjuna, Vagathor mostly. Kitikeli was in Vagathor, which doesn't look the same anymore. I mean, we'll have to show people proof that this was also what Vagathor looked like once upon a time. But did anybody get the reference of Aiye Bahar Ko Hum Baat Le? Nirvan, as rightly said by Ramnath. So this is from a film called Takdeer, and Takdeer was a Hindi remake of a Konkani film called Nirvan, whose songs, of course, we all know very, very well. And of course there was Ek Duje Ke Liye, partly again Wagator and Haravle Falls near Bicholim. Of course nowadays everybody wants to see the Shapura Fort and Singham locations, but Ek Duje Ke Liye actually was the film which popularized tourist Goa in that sense. So when people came to Goa at that time in the early 80s after Ek Duje Ke Liye, they wanted to see Dona Paula because of Ek Duje Ke Liye and many other locations where it was shot. Interestingly though, for those who have seen the film, you know that rock called Vasu and Sapna, which is frequently mentioned in the film, is not in Goa. Because a lot of people kept saying, you know, where is this? Suicide Point is there, but the suicide happens in one place and the rock is in another place. So part of the film was shot somewhere near Vishakhapatnam, on the other side of the coast, and part of it was shot in Goa. Of course, they do a lot of mix and match, as they usually do in cinemas.
So, I would just like to add, this is how cinema documents its time and history. Usually cinema is known to give us the history, कि Rana Pratap के बारे में, Padmavat के बारे में. They tell us the stories of the history, the historical tales of Mahabharata, Ramayana. But this is how cinema actually documents the history of its time. So now we know how the 60s of Goa used to look like. And I'll tell you a very interesting part. There's a generation gap too. Last time I was in Goa, so I walked to the Dona Paula. So I asked someone कि भाई एक दूजे के लिए वाला सुसाइड पॉइंट कहाँ पर है? I just wanted to know. He said, भाई साहब यहाँ सिंघम का शूटिंग हुआ था. So this is how the generation changes. The generation of people. So this is a generation.
That's about it for this section. We'll just try and move a little more faster now.
And just one thing, you can go back and see that Takdeer song. That song has very young Subhash Kari. That was a debut of Farida Jalal as an matured heroine, as an adult heroine. She used to do the child actor roles, but that was the first film she was introduced. And the film, actually she became the star after that because of the success. But there's a young Subhash Ghai also there as an actor in that song.
Just a quick bit of trivia that in that same film there's a song Saat Samundar Par. So that is probably the only instance of Sulakshana Pandit singing with Lata Mangeshkar.
Yeah. And so, you just saw Lata Mangeshkar singing for Sulakshana Pandit. And that happened because producer didn't want Sulakshana Pandit the singer. They wanted Lata Mangeshkar the singer to write.
So I must add here, Doc with his vast knowledge and intricate details of music, he also absolutely loves trivia. So yesterday night he asked us, in which Lata Mangeshkar song does she say, "Mujhe lemon juice nahi pilaya"? Lemon nahi pilaya, sorry. Juice was my addition. Mujhe lemon nahi pilaya. I mean, but there's not a great story behind that, but that's the kind of trivia Doc is interested in. Ki Lata Mangeshkar ne kaun se gaane mein bola, "Mujhe lemon nahi pilaya," and then we dug out that song eventually.